All right, Booker. So we're in winter now, right?
Right.
How do we need to take care of our lawn?
One of the things that we in the winter months now, one thing we probably start doing now is just walk around our landscape and see do we have any standing water in our lawn. 'Cause we got standing water in our lawn now. You might not see the effect of it right now, but think in the springtime when they begin to come out of dormancy again, you might wonder why it's not coming out so good.
Right.
A lot of times those roots are very still active during the winter months, but they might be getting root rot. And because there was standing water there, you need to walk around your landscape and just look and see where water kind of standing. If you have standing water, try to get it out of there.
Okay.
Some kind of way, try to improve that area where the water's standing. You might need to add some sand to it or some kind of thing to build it up some for water won't stand there.
Okay.
And this is a good time, we always tell in the winter time is always a good time to do a soil test.
I knew you were going to say it.
Because you never know. We just can't guess at our soil and look at it and say, well, it looked good, but the pH could be off.
That's right.
In there. So you might want to do that too. Now this is a good time to do that. And your local extension office has soil box.
We have plenty.
And they have a information sheet to tell you how to do that soil test. And during the winter months, it might not take as long to get it back.
That's right.
If you need to add lime or whatever you need to add to it. A lot of times people don't think about it. You don't need no nitrogen fertilizer in your lawn this time of the year, but you still might need some phosphorus and potassium because in there. And this would be a good time to put that in there into your soil now. Okay. People might not want to think about that. And another thing about the winter months, we talk about standing water in your lawn.
All right.
If we go through a real dry winter, it don't happen too often now. It might happen every now and then. Every day might have it might look kind of fun out there, but that grass needs some water.
Okay.
Those roots are very still active in the soil. The top part just dormant because of the weather. Right. But the roots are still active.
So do we have to water in the winter? Is what you're saying?
It ain't like you water. You might get like doing it in the summertime, but you might need to have it. That's a real dry. That's hard to have though, but it could happen. I'm saying you probably need to add a little water to it. Need some water to it just to keep that grass active in doing that. Okay. And so don't be ashamed to get out there with your water hose in one time. Your neighbor looking at you and saying, what they doing?
Just gotta add a little water.
You gotta add a little water in there. So that'd be a good thing.
So let's talk about the difference between the warm season grasses, which are dormant now, and then our cool season grasses. So we're going to take care of those differently, right?
Yeah, you have to. Okay. The cool season grass now, they begin to grow now.
Right. And let's give an example of cool season grass.
Something like fescue grass like that in the beginning to grow. Like Kentucky bluegrass begin to grow now. That's some of the grass you might see now, real pretty and green. And normally you will see that somewhere up under especially with fescue grass, under a shade tree, somewhere to begin to grow in there. And then you might get the lawnmower. If you get real thing, you got the Bermuda grass dormant, and you got two different types of grass in your lawn. You might want to cut it down a little bit in there and stuff in there.
Now, will those cool season grasses need to be fertilized?
It need to be fertilized. They need to be fertilized in there. They might need a little nitrogen fertilizer in there to get those to grow real good and do that. Okay. So, the only thing about the cool season grass, sometimes it's really good. And you might see it might do a little color change sometimes. Especially we have a hard freeze or something, but it'll come back and everything in there. So, your cool season grass, it's been getting to grow now. And we do have a lot of fescue lawns. People have a lot of fescue grass because people like their shade tree. And your Bermuda grass or zoysia grass, your warm grass, not going to grow under those shade trees. So you need to make sure that you have that in there. And cutting your fescue lawn too. You need to cut it in there, cut it the right height. Don't just cut it too low and everything in there.
How about that?
Yeah.
See, I love my warm season grass because I want to go dormant.
Man, I want to go dormant.
I
like cutting my grass in there, but I like to get that rest too. I like to kind of ease back off of something in there and don't cut it all the time.
I'm with
but I do walk around my lawn now just to make sure there's no standing water and anything going on with my grass that I know is going to cause a problem in the springtime.
No, that's good. So what about controlling those winter weeds?
Well, the winter weeds, now a lot of times you should already have it and put some of your pre-emerge down in there. But you can't go out there in spots. You see some weeds out in your lawn begin to grow. You probably got to have that many in there, that many weeds out there. You go out there and pull those up. Okay. Yeah, a spot spray with some kind of herbicide or something to kill those weeds out of there. Okay. You don't need to spray your whole lawn, but in there. So just spot spray and pull those weeds out of there in there, because you don't want those weeds to take over in there. But you should be able to put you a pre-emerge down already. Okay. If not, you might come back in the springtime and add you a pre-emerge to give some of those winter weeds, some weeds from germinating.
Okay. And always read and follow the label.
Always read and follow the label already. That's the law. You always tell that law. So you work that's the law. Make sure that you do that in there, because you don't want it to go add too much in there. So don't be doing. And a lot of times, some of what you put down, sometimes you might just need to read the label. You might need to water it in, not water it in there. So
right, because it might be a granular or it might be a liquid.
Liquid, in doing that. But check those grasses out in there, everything in there.
Okay. So what else do we need to do in the wintertime to make sure that grass comes out in the spring?
Then make sure that you, like I said, do that soil test in there and everything there. Make sure that there's no standing water in there. And there's not a good time now, maybe on your fescue lawn. If you're growing real good and growing real, there's no hard freeze expected coming in. You might want to do kind of aerate if you've been native in a long time now, but don't do it early in the year. But you might want to look and see how to compact your grass in there. But your warm season grass there, just make sure you're watching it and watch for weeds and everything in there. So it should be ready to come out in the springtime. In there, when you got that standing water, it don't come out late. And a lot of times, some of your zoysia grass might come out a little late.
Okay.
And all Bermuda grass don't come out of them at the same time either, though. So some of them might come a little later and everything in there. So you might see your neighbor grass beginning to grow a little turning green, and yours might be still in the dormant stage. So don't get afraid about that. Don't get scared and say, "Wonder why my grass."
Just know it's gonna be all right.
You know it'll be all right. In there.
So when should we fertilize the grasses once they come out of winter? Should we wait sometime in the spring?
Yeah, you want to wait till they start seeing that new growth in there. When you start seeing some new growth come in there, and then you zoysia grass, you don't want to fertilize it till at least the 1st of June, sometime in that area.
That's a good little while.
Yeah, you don't want to do that, especially with nitrogen fertilizer.
Right.
Like I said, your phosphate grass in there, you need to fertilize that. You need that in like most of the winter time, but phosphate can build up in the soil faster.
Sure.
Your nitrogen grass, your nitrogen fertilizer normally leach itself out.
Okay.
Because plants use a lot of that nitrogen fertilizer in there. Cause it only do two things: make it grow and turn it green. So you don't use that lots in there.
Okay.
So a lot of time on your soil test, they don't give you a recommendation for nitrogen fertilizer. They give you for phosphate potassium, and also your soil pH. And your pH, the pH is so important to your lawn grasses, because it makes sure that it use the other nutrient in the soil. Right. And you get if your pH is off and you start adding a lot of nitrogen down there, phosphate, potassium down, and your pH is off, a lot of times they get tied up in the soil and don't be used by the plant.
That's right.
And that's why we always tell you do a soil test, because you don't want to add all that fertilizer to your lawn, putting fertilizer down here and putting it right there, and just sitting there, just stand in the soil. You want it for the plant can use that up. And that's why for most lawn grass, when you do your soil test, for most lawn grass, between 6.0 and 6.5 would be a good soil pH. Right. But that's for your warm season grasses and also your cool season grass.
Oh, for both.
Yeah, work for both. That's soil pH.
Okay.
And that's why I swear. And Chris, you know, $15 not bad.
No, it's definitely worth it.
It was the $15 for the soil test.
It's definitely worth it.
Because you can go out and buy a bag of fertilizer, it'll cost you a lot more than $15, and you might not need it.
That's right.
You might need to keep putting it down, and you might not need it.
It might not need that lime either.
It might not need that lime either. Right,
soil test results.
Normally, your pH will stay there for at least 3 years. Once you get it where you want it, it'll stay there for 3 years. So when you get it to 6.5, when you're in that area, in that range, it'll stay there for 3 years.
So it'll be good.
Be good.
Be good
then. So you all right then. $15. They might call you because you get to take it to the shipping boxes all, but the test is $15 per box. And that's not bad.
It is definitely worth it. Mr. Booker, we appreciate that good information.
Thanks for having me.
Taking care of the grasses in the wintertime.
In the wintertime,
so it can transition over into the spring. So we definitely appreciate the information. Again, if you need any soil test kits, you can stop by your local extension office. We have plenty in our office here in Shelby County. Thank you much.
Enjoy it. Thank you.
Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. To find out more information on this topic, just click on the familyplotgarden.com link in the description.